President Bongbong Marcos approves the proposed 6.7 trillion peso national expenditure program for fiscal year 2026. In a briefing on Tuesday, July 15, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says Marcos approved the proposed 2026 budget to improve the quality of education and ease the lives of Filipinos.
Sa layuning mapataas ang kalidad ng edukasyon sa Pilipinas at pag-aani ng pamumuhay ng mga Pilipino, inaprubahan ni President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang 6.793 trillion pesos proposed budget para sa susunod na taon. Sa ginanap na cabinet meeting sa Malacanang kaninang umaga, binigyan diin ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. na sisiguruhin na ang 2026 budget ay hindi lamang pang economic growth, kundi maiangat ang buhay ng bawat Pilipino at ang susunod na mga henerasyon.
Meanwhile, the Department of Budget and Management says the 2026 National Expenditure Program is anchored on the Philippine Development Plan. The agency highlights the Philippine Development Plan's 3 pillars, which focus on empowering individuals and families and transforming key production sectors, among others. The proposed budget is equivalent to 22% of the country's gross domestic product. The agency says it also reflected a 7.4% increase from the 6.3 trillion budget for fiscal year 2025. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman says the budget focuses on human capital development by prioritizing investments in quality education, healthcare, and workforce upskilling. According to DBM, the President will submit the National Expenditure Program to Congress within 30 days after the opening of the regular session. Malacanang stresses that any decision regarding a total ban on online gambling cannot be made hastily. At a briefing on Tuesday, July 15, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro notes that President Bongbong Marcos is already studying the issue. Senator Raffy Tulfo earlier urged Marcos to voice his stance on the growing issue of online gambling in his 4th State of the Nation address.
Ang mga pagpapasyang ganito po ay talagang pinag-aaralan kung ito ba'y makakaapekto sa ekonomiya, makakaapekto sa mamamayan, at hindi po tayo maaaring magpadalos-dalos dito. Dahil minsan ko po, kapag ka po mismo ang legal at license na mga online gaming sites ang iyong ibaban, mas dumadami ang mga illegal na online gaming sites. At yan po ay mas nakakaapekto sa ekonomiya. So pinag-aaralan po yan ng Pangulo.
In a briefing on July 8, Castro noted that Marcos will not object to the Department of Finance's proposed tax on online gaming operators as long as sufficient studies back it. Tulfo has said he is set to file a bill that seeks the complete ban of all forms of online gambling in the country. Senators Juan Miguel Zubiri and J.V. Ejercito have also called for immediate and stricter government regulation of online gaming. The senators believe online gambling now poses a greater threat than Philippine offshore gaming operators. A recent social weather station survey shows President Bongbong Marcos' trust rating rose by double digits for the first time since last year. The Strat-based group commissioned the survey results were released on Monday night, July 14. Survey results show that the president's trust rating went up by 10 percentage points from 38% in May to 48% in June. According to the survey, 48% expressed a great deal of trust in Marcos, 30% had little trust, and 21% were undecided. This is the second consecutive month that the president's trust rating increased, rising from a record low of 36% in April to 38% in May. Surveys conducted by SWS showed that the trust ratings of Marcos had been declining since last year. From 64% in July 2024, it consistently decreased by single digits in succeeding months. Marcos' trust rating only increased in the past 2 months. The most recent survey was conducted among 1,200 Filipino adults nationwide from June 25 to 29. The survey results come ahead of Marcos' 4th State of the Nation address on July 28. Presidential Communications Office Acting Secretary Dave Gomez earlier said that he would revisit and study their communication strategy to improve the trust rating of Marcos. The Philippine Coast Guard deploys submersible equipment on the 5th day of the search for missing sabungeros in the waters of Taal Lake in Batangas. PCG District Southern Tagalog spokesperson Junior Grade Don Baterbonia says the remotely operated vehicle was deployed from Taal Lake Central Fishport early Tuesday morning, July 15. According to Baterbonia, the equipment will help in locating items at the bottom of the lake. Before noon on Tuesday, the boat carrying the remotely operated vehicle and PCG personnel returned to the port. PCG spokesperson Captain Noemi Kayebyab previously said the remotely operated vehicle can remain underwater for 4 hours. It is also equipped with a camera and light which could penetrate up to 1,000 feet and lift objects up to 10 kilograms. On Monday, July 14, the PCG said their diving operations yielded negative results. So far, authorities said 5 sacks of what they described as suspicious objects were recovered by the diving team since the search began on Friday, July 11. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla said the search for remains in Taal Lake may continue for 6 more months. Whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan earlier claimed the remains of 34 missing sabungeros were dumped in Taal Lake. At least 34 sabungeros went missing between April 2021 and January 2022, although Patidongan said the number of victims could be as high as 100. The retired police general who allegedly wanted to kill whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan is denying being involved in the abduction of sabungeros. During his appearance before the National Police Commission on Monday, July 14, Patidongan tagged retired Lieutenant General Jonel Estomo as an alpha member of the Pitmaster cockfighting group. In a statement on Tuesday, July 15, Estomo categorically denies his involvement in any manner. Estomo says he will present evidence to clear his name. He adds that he is ready to answer the allegations at the proper forum. Directly addressing Patidongan, Estomo says his lawyers are preparing a case for what he calls malicious and baseless accusations against him. Estomo was National Capital Region Police Office Director from August 2022 to February 2023. In a television interview in June, Patidongan claimed that businessman Atong Ang had police officers on his payroll to kidnap and kill the sabungeros. Ang runs the Pitmaster cockfighting group. Patidongan filed an affidavit complaint against 18 police officers allegedly involved in the abductions and killings. For his part, Ang denied the allegations against him and accused Patidongan of extorting 300 million pesos from him or else be implicated in the case. Former lawmaker Teves again refuses to enter a plea in a 2019 murder case against him, prompting a Manila court to enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. Teves personally appeared before the Manila Regional Trial Court on Tuesday, July 15, weeks after undergoing an appendectomy. His lawyer, Ferdinand Topacio, says the arraignment and pre-trial were concerning the 2019 killing of a provincial board member. Among Teves' co-accused in this specific case are Hannah May Sumerano, Richard Cuadra, Jasper Tanasan, Alex Mayagma, and Rolando Pinili. Topacio believes the revival of the case is politically motivated.
Murder din po ito, pero hindi po ito yung sa Digamo, no relation to Digamo. This is a 2019 murder case that has already been previously dismissed by the DOJ after preliminary investigation. Kaya nagulat nga po kami kung bakit binukay na naman, pero alam naman po natin, politika lang naman ang nasa likuran itong mga pagbubukay ng mga ganitong kaso.
Topacio also says Teves was still protesting how he was repatriated by the Philippine government. Another Manila court on Monday, July 14, entered a not guilty plea on Teves' behalf in a separate 2019 murder case he is facing. Topacio explained that the killing happened in the same year, but it was a different case with a different victim. Aside from the 2019 killings, the expelled lawmaker is also facing multiple murder complaints in connection with the death of his political rival, former Negros Oriental Governor Roel Digamo. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.